Here's every Easter egg we spotted in the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness poster. This is Nerdist Now. The latest trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness dropped during the
big game,
along with a brand new poster. And both are chock full of Easter eggs and possible hints as to what's in store for the Sorcerer Supreme and all of his magical friends. Now, we already have an extremely in-depth breakdown of the trailer and all the treasures that are locked inside that you can find in the description below. But we're going to be focusing on the poster specifically and what secrets it may hide. This entire video is actually the brainchild of our resident Marvel sleuth, Rosie Knight, and if you want to read her incredibly in-depth breakdown over on Nerdist.com, please do. It's worth a read. Not exactly sure there's any way to spoil talking about a poster, but we're going to be dipping our toes into some deep comics lore, as well as several of the Marvel Disney Plus series, so if you want to avoid any kind of spoilers in any way, make like Wong and go take a little vacation. Let's start with the most obvious, shall we? We see multiple versions of our main characters reflected in the shattered mirror across the poster. We see Doctor Strange, Wanda Maximoff, Wong, Baron Mordo, Christine Palmer, and America Chavez all appear multiple times. It makes sense since this movie is setting up a massive multiversal party for Doctor Strange and company. And we know from the trailer that we're already getting at least 2 Strange variants. Not just weird, but Stephen Strange, including one who looks similar to the Doctor Strange we saw in What If Episode 4. We see multiple iterations of Wanda and Christine Palmer in the trailer and Big Game Spot 2, so we could potentially meet multiple versions of each of these characters. It's important to note that at least one version of each character is screaming. That makes us think that Sam Raimi will use his horror chops to drag them to hell, or they're just trapped in a timeline where everyone is trapped in a super loud bar and it's hard to talk. We've all been there. Not lately, but been there. We also notice an eye that looks like it belongs to Shuma-Gorath, the powerful elder god who is hell-bent on conquering the multiverse. In this movie, he is a being called Gargantos because the name Shuma-Gorath actually belongs to the Robert E. Howard estate. Fun fact. In the trailer, we see Gargantos, which is not as cool to say, chasing America Chavez, or maybe just trying to help her quite literally catch a bus. Speaking of chaos, we also see Doctor Strange's broken watch, which was given to him by Christine Palmer. We also see a couple of Darkholds on the poster too. If you don't remember what the Darkhold is, strap in. It's the ancient magical tome that Agatha Harkness used against Wanda during WandaVision. In the comics, it's the source of all chaos magic, and it was last seen in Wanda's possession as she was harnessing her powers in isolation at the end of that series. We also get a small glimpse of Defender Strange, as we also do in the trailer, so this one isn't too big of a surprise. This ponytailed Doctor Strange is most likely from a different universe, given that we see him pulled through one of America Chavez's star-shaped portals. His moniker, which was confirmed by an action figure, means in his world he was likely part of the comic book team known as the Defenders, which he founded. You might know that name from the Marvel Netflix shows, R.I.P., but the original Defenders lineup in the comics consisted of Doctor Strange, Prince Namor, and the Hulk. Now we know that Namor will be showing up in Black Panther 2, played by Narcos Mexico star Tenoch Huerta. But could we possibly be getting an early glimpse at the Protector of Atlantis? We're gonna say yes. That way, if we're right, we look smart. Besides, someone needs to fill out those Illuminati chairs. And if you'd like to learn more about the Illuminati, we did a video about it last year, which you can click on right there. Down in the right-hand corner of the poster is one of the most obvious Easter eggs, Captain Carter's shield wielded by the super soldier version of Peggy Carter from What If Episode 1. We had a feeling that we might see both the shield and Captain Carter herself in the Multiverse of Madness after she bravely threw herself into another dimension to stop that tentacled beast from entering their world, and then escaped from said tentacle dimension 70 years later. On the left-hand side of that poster, just under that monstrous eye we mentioned earlier, there's the head of a Minotaur. Thanks to recent toy releases and the new trailer, we can safely assume this is Rintrah. In the comics, Rintrah is an interdimensional magical being from the planet Reval. I'm positive nobody has ever said that out loud at Marvel. Anyway, he has lived and trained with Doctor Strange in the comics, and in the trailer he seems to be studying sorcery at Comertage. Apologies to all the Bova the Cow fans out there, but we're pretty sure we're not going to see the talking bovine nanny that helped raise Wanda and Pietro. Maybe. It could still appear, we have no idea. If you look just so slightly above Stephen Strange's head, you may notice a shard, which seems to stand out against the color palette more than the other mirror shards. In it, we see what appears to be a strange creature, whose face seems to be made up of multiple layers of muscle. Granted, we're just making educated guesses on this one, but it could very likely be Chthon, another elder god and powerful user of chaos magic. If we look at 2017's Carnage comics by Jerry Conway, Mike Perkins, Andy Troy, and Joe Sabino, there is a version of Chthon who looks very similar to what we see in the poster. Now, we've talked at length length about Chthon in several videos relating to Wanda, Carnage, and the mystical side of the Marvel Universe at large. Chthon would fit into the Multiverse of Madness pretty well, seeing as how the evil Elder God is the creator of the Darkhold. Now we know that the magical book will be playing a large part in this movie and the MCU going forward, so it's not too crazy to think that he who sleeps will awaken for this movie. On the left-hand side of the poster, near the lower corner, there's an image that will immediately seem familiar to Captain Marvel fans. It looks like a version of the Holostar that we see on Captain Marvel's suit, but we're thinking it'll likely be connected to either Monica Rambeau or Maria Rambeau. In the comics, Monica became the second person to go by Captain Marvel and gained superpowers during the events of WandaVision. Her mother Maria was Carol's best friend and the founder of S.W.O.R.D. While Maria passed away from cancer during the blip, this could be a variant of Maria who was imbued with Captain Marvel's powers rather than Carol Danvers. Now we're getting into the weeds here with this next one. Where have the weeds been up to now? That's a good question. But this is our last not really that blurry one, so please stick with us. Up around the top left-hand corner, you can see a silvery shard that looks to be a screaming head with a visor on. A visor that sure does look a lot like Cyclops, doesn't it? Given that we hear the velvety tones of Patrick Stewart's voice in the trailer, this really isn't that wild to assume. Especially if Charles is from a universe that has already been destroyed or had casualties from multiversal shenanigans. Or a merger with Disney, who can say? Perhaps this is the Charles who killed all his ex-friends in Logan. Either way, Cyclops does not look happy here. I mean, you wouldn't be too happy if you got vaporized by your ex-girlfriend just to end up trapped in a mirror like Zod at the end of Superman 2. Now, like we said up top, a few of these are speculation on our part given what we've learned from the trailers on top of what we know from the comic book universe as well. It might seem a bit premature, but we're gonna go ahead and say Cyclops Watch, just to be safe. Or Cy-Watch. Watch Clops? Scott Watch. There it is, Scott Watch. Yeah, Scott Watch. Speaking of that merger with Disney though, last but not least, we see what could be none other than Marvel's Merc with a mouth. On the left-hand center top of the poster, you can see a shard that looks like a reflection of Deadpool in his signature promo shot, where he has his finger over his mouth in a shushing pose. Could we expect to see Deadpool in the Multiverse of Madness? Given everything else in the movie, it seems likely. After all, someone needs to break the fourth wall.
Oh, hello.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. We have even more Easter eggs from the poster waiting for you in Rosie's piece on Nerdist.com. Literally, it is one of the most comprehensive pieces of internet detective work I've ever seen. It's really great. And there's also a really nice key there that shows you everything that she's talking about. But tell us, what do you think? Who do you think is going to make an appearance in the Multiverse of Madness? Is Doctor Strange going to come face to face with the Illuminati like we're predicting? Why hasn't Bova the Cow gotten an action figure yet? Please tell me, Hasbro. Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, please stay tuned to Nerdist.com.